On this Wednesday night, with talk of indictments and impeachment in the air, Donald Trump fights back. He says former longtime lawyer Michael Cohen's guilty pleas have nothing to do with him. And as for those hush money payments, those weren't even illegal. No surprise, not everyone agrees. Also tonight, sketching out the battle lines of the next federal election fight. The Liberals and Conservatives skirmish over immigration policy. This is The National. Donald Trump is trying to take back the narrative, putting maximum spin on a story that could be a watershed moment for his presidency. As Keith Bogue tells us, with a former ally flipping on the president, Trump's turning for cover from his friends in the media.
That's a big thing. That's a much bigger thing.
In a friendly interview with Fox News that will air in the morning, President Trump offered a confusing explanation for why there is nothing illegal about the hush money payments he made to keep two women quiet about the affairs they say they had with him. It has to do with where the payments came from.
In fact, my first question when I heard about it was, did they come out of the campaign? Because that could be a little dicey. And they didn't come out of the campaign, and that's big. But they weren't. It's not even a campaign violation.
Not even a campaign violation? Michael Cohen is going to jail for his part in it. He pleaded guilty yesterday, and the judge he faced in New York, who presumably knows better than Trump what the law is, accepted Cohen's guilty plea. Cohen's lawyer never contested any of it, but he's been all over the cable channels reminding everyone what else his client said.
He not only implicated, he specifically under oath stated that Donald Trump directed him to commit a crime.
The White House simply dug in its heels.
As the president has stated on numerous occasions, he did nothing wrong. There are no charges against him in this.
Republicans on Capitol Hill had little to say about it.
I don't think we know all the facts. So you're not concerned? No, that's not what I said. That's what you said.
Senate Democrats are focusing on this man, Brett Kavanaugh, Trump's Supreme Court nominee, and demanding that his confirmation, scheduled to begin after Labor Day, now be delayed.
It is unseemly for the President of the United States to be picking a Supreme Court justice who could soon be, effectively, a juror in a case involving the President himself.
That is a reference to the gnarly questions the Supreme Court might face about Trump, such as whether a sitting president can be subpoenaed, indicted, or even able to pardon himself.
And Keith joins us now from Washington. Okay, is there a realistic possibility here, Keith, that the Democrats could actually hold up a Supreme Court nominee?
Probably not. But it might still be a useful tactic for Democrats to cast Trump as what many are calling an unindicted co-conspirator in the Michael Cohen crimes. And that's a way of raising questions about Trump's fitness for office before the midterm elections without calling for his impeachment.
Okay, so is that word, impeachment, is it in the air there in Washington?
Oh, yeah, it is. And certainly there are some Democrats pushing for it. But it seems to be Republicans who really like impeachment as an election issue. They think it could be a winner for them because they believe they need a polarizing issue to get their base agitated and itching to vote. And they figure there is no better way to polarize and motivate voters than to make the midterms a referendum on whether to impeach the president.
Okay, Keith, thanks for this tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the issue of impeachment. Well, but one of the other big questions that is out there, given Michael Cohen's allegation against Trump, is could the Department of Justice actually indict a sitting president?
You cannot indict the president, nor can you issue criminal process with regard to a case involving the president.
If you believe Rudy Giuliani, it's a firm no, they can't indict Trump. But arguments have gone back and forth for almost half a century. And this Nixon-era document is key. A 1973 Justice Department memo that looked at criminal prosecutions of the highest office holders was clear. There is no express provision in the Constitution that immunizes a president, but an indictment would interfere with the president's unique official duties, most of which cannot be performed by someone else. And constitutionally, only Congress should be accorded the power to interrupt the presidency.
It does put all the eggs in the congressional basket, that since the people of the United States elect the president, they think it's only fitting that the legislature of the United States be the one to potentially oust him.
There's the president.
But in 45 years, a few events may have changed minds.
Well, when the president does it, that means that it is not illegal.
First Nixon, then Clinton. Two presidential scandals that led to Supreme Court decisions that no president is above the law. Then in 2000, another DOJ memo reinforcing the merits of impeachment because that process lay in the hands of duly elected and politically accountable officials rather than those of a jury. This could be Mueller's view, though there could be presidential peril even without an indictment.
Most people don't know what an indictment is, and he can do quite a bit of damage if, to the president just by saying that the president committed a crime, whether or not the president's indicted.
And keep in mind, all this protection is for a president in office. Once he leaves, it's a brand new game. But of course, Donald Trump is still president. And we wanted to know if yesterday's revelations had changed any American minds. So Steven D'Souza hit the road to find out. Destination, Freemansburg, Pennsylvania. It's a small place with just a couple thousand people, and the vote is fairly evenly split between Democrats and the GOP. That's why we went there. In 2012, President Barack Obama won with 51% support. But in 2016, voters narrowly swung Republican and chose Donald Trump.
At Spiro's Family Restaurant, the news that caused tremors in New York and Washington
turn on the news once in a while.
is still slowly rippling through the small community, and some are reveling in it.
But I was happy to see that it's finally happening, that the rats are finally getting drained from the swamp, and that it's going to keep on going, and it's going to touch him, and he's going to be gone.
Trump won this county by a slim margin, 50% to Hillary Clinton's 46%. The divide here is evident. Trump supporters aren't far, one booth over, and a political world away.
All they're trying to do is get rid of Trump. That's what they're trying to do.
Charles Bowman is the town's former mayor. Even Michael Cohen, implicating the president yesterday, has done little to diminish his support for Trump. He directed him to commit a crime, and I mean, if he wasn't the president, he might have been indicted.
No, that's his theory.
Many Trump supporters here have a low opinion of Michael Cohen, not the president.
I think he's looking for a better deal. He's been plea dealing all along.
For some, there's no convincing them that Trump may have ordered his former lawyer to pay hush money to two women before the election.
They're insinuating that Trump ordered it.
Well, no, Cohen actually said it in court. He said he was directed by the candidate.
Do they have anything to validate it?
We've heard the audio, right? We've heard the recording of Michael Cohen and Donald Trump talking about it. They released that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but how do you know that's the right thing and it wasn't doctored?
Even though Pennsylvania's industrial heyday is in the past, Trump supporters here say it's his handling of the economy that will keep them voting for him. But for Stephanie Rao, that political division has a social cost.
Yeah, and you can tell on Facebook I lose a lot of friends.
And while she hopes Cohen's guilty plea will push Democrats to get out and vote, this group wonders what, if anything, will open the eyes of the Trump supporters they used to call friends. Steven D'Souza, CBC News, Freemansburg, Pennsylvania.
Still a lot more to talk about on this story legally. Where does Trump stand and what does it mean for his presidency? We'll get into that a little later with former Republican insider David Frum. We're keeping an eye on several other stories, including the investigation into a deadly explosion that leveled a house in Kitchener, Ontario. You'll see the panicked moments captured after the blast. First, though, the war of words continues between the Liberals and Conservatives over Canada's immigration system. And today, the Conservatives tried to reclaim the debate over immigration after one of the party's own members derailed them with a series of tweets. While polls do suggest that Canadians are worried about the issue of asylum seekers, it's unclear whether this is actually a winning issue for any political party. Evan Dyer breaks it all down for us tonight.
The numbers of irregular border crossers ticked up in July after falling off earlier this year. And the immigration debate is roiling the Conservative Party, with Maxime Bernier stirring the pot from the sidelines with a string of tweets calling for Canada to accept fewer newcomers. Today, the rogue backbencher tweeted that after disavowing me last week for raising the issue and telling me to shut up, my colleagues have just realized that this is something Canadians find important and want to hear about. And indeed, this morning, the official Conservative critic on immigration, Michelle Rempel, unveiled the party's immigration platform.
So as opposed to calling Canadians nasty names when they ask questions about our immigration process, we will continue to seek to inspire Canadians with a new immigration system that restores social license for immigration that Justin Trudeau has lost through his failures.
At a meeting of his fellow cabinet ministers in BC, the government's immigration minister dismissed the Conservatives' new platform and appeared to relish the turmoil in the rival party.
I think you guys should first wait to see what Maxime Bernier thinks about the Conservative immigration plan. But seriously, we've seen what a Conservative plan looks like, long wait times, huge backlogs.
But there are signs the Liberals are worried that the issue of illegal border crossing is starting to hurt them, realizing they need to do more to reassure Canadians they've got things in hand.
When someone crosses the border, they are immediately arrested. In every case, they are arrested. They are fingerprinted, photographed.
Polls analyst Eric Grenier says for now, the Conservatives are winning the public opinion battle on immigration, but they're walking a fine line.
Because they're tapping into that concern that Canadians do have in polls, that there are too many refugees coming in, too many people that the country can't handle. But as we've seen with the heckler in Quebec and the comments by Maxime Bernier, that it's an issue that can quickly get out of control.
All signs point to the two parties bracing for immigration to be a hot issue in next year's election, with three different visions on the table: the government's, the official Conservative policy, and the insurgent platform of renegade Conservative Maxime Bernier. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Nanaimo, British Columbia.
Okay, that's the West Coast, where Evan's following the government and their cabinet retreat. On the East Coast now, our own Catherine Cullen is in Halifax, and that's where Conservative Party members from across Canada start meeting tomorrow. They're gathering there already. Catherine, why is the party laying out this immigration policy now?
Yeah, well, Rosie, as Evan just mentioned, Maxime Bernier is getting an awful lot of attention for his tweets about immigration. A lot of Conservatives who are not very happy about that. So today's announcement did seem like a pretty clear attempt to wrestle back that immigration issue away from Maxime Bernier, have Andrew Scheer's team in the opposition leader's office being the ones who are dictating what the Conservative policy is all around this. Now, Michelle Rempel, interestingly, was asked today about Maxime Bernier's views on immigration, and here's some of what she had to say.
Max has never come to talk to me about immigration. And I would also say that my colleague has a choice to make. Does he want Andrew Scheer to win or Justin Trudeau to win?
Now, it is not clear that Maxime Bernier is just going to, though, be quiet because of that announcement today. He was tweeting today. Amongst the things he tweeted was what seemed to be a pretty sarcastic reference to the great Conservative leadership. Rosie?
Okay, so that'll make where you are interesting. Everyone's going to meet there starting tomorrow. What should we expect?
Yeah, well, there's going to be a closed-door caucus meeting to kick things off, and I think we can safely expect some tension. A lot of Conservatives that I've spoken to are hopping mad, not even about what Maxime Bernier is saying so much in the content, but the fact that he is drawing so much attention to himself, this perception that he's not being a very good team player. Now, MPs and senators in the Conservative caucus do actually have the power to hold a secret vote and kick him out. It is not clear, though, Rosie, that they are ready to do that. They are concerned, perhaps, that will just draw more attention to Maxime Bernier.
Okay, and Maxime Bernier has yet to say any of this in front of a TV camera, so we'll see if he does that tomorrow with you. Catherine, thank you for that. Catherine is covering the Conservative convention in Halifax over the next couple of days. All right. As Evan mentioned earlier, the Liberal cabinet meeting was in BC today, an appropriate place for the Prime Minister to announce a new ad hoc committee. It will coordinate Ottawa's response to this year's wildfires. There are now more than 560 burning across that province. This one, south of Burns Lake, is of great concern. It's already charred thousands of hectares and is expected to grow. Hundreds of residents have been told to pack up and leave, though some are refusing.
People started taking it into their own hands to protect their property, spraying down roads with water, hauling water around, gasoline. Everyone's just doing everything that they can to help everyone else.
Meanwhile, smoke from this fire and others is still hanging over much of the province, including on Vancouver Island, where Environment Minister Catherine McKenna called this summer a wake-up call.
Seeing the forest fires across British Columbia just demonstrates that climate change is having a real impact on Canadians.
Now, those wildfires, as you know, have become an annual scourge in British Columbia, seemingly inescapable and devastating. As Anita Bath explains, the environmental repercussions, though, go well beyond charred trees and hazy skies.
BC's environment is changing dramatically. Wildfires are significantly impacting 3 key areas. Much of the vegetation on the ground is being killed by the flames.
The soil for a short period of time becomes more like a concrete surface.
Forester Bruce Blackwell says healthy trees and roots usually suck up the moisture when it rains. But after wildfire, the water has nowhere to go.
And that's where you're seeing these debris flows and mudslides.
Over time, the landscape could change entirely, with trees replaced by shrubs and grasses. No tree cover means more snow on the ground in the winter.
All of that snow goes into our creeks and rivers, and so we tend to see changes in the hydrologic cycle depending upon how much of the vegetation is disturbed.
Deborah Harford has been studying the impacts of wildfires and says there's a trickle-down effect.
It ends up affecting human health.
After the vegetation dies and mudslides happen, water can become contaminated.
Water gets full of sediment and debris, so that combined with contaminants like toxins and pollutants is really bad for aquatic species. But it's obviously also bad for human health and poses challenges for our drinking water.
The thick smoke across Western Canada poses obvious health risks, but there's more.
Trees are using carbon dioxide, like all plants, to create oxygen, so they're filtering the air.
Without them, a vicious cycle begins, according to Harford.
There's less cooling, less air filtering, less shade for species, and actually increases heat, which was what was causing the wildfires in the first place.
Wildfires are usually a necessary part of the regeneration cycle, but as they become so frequent and fierce, their long-term toll isn't fully clear. Anita Bath, CBC News, Vancouver.
Okay, let's bring in the CBC meteorologist, Johanna Wagstaff, to talk about some of those long-term effects, because that's a big concern here too, Johanna, that these fires are contributing to climate change.
Absolutely, Rosie. In fact, forests play a huge critical role in capturing carbon, actually taking in more greenhouse gases than they emit. So when those forests actually burn, they're re-releasing that carbon back into the atmosphere. Now, it'll be some time before we get the official numbers from this year, but last year's record fire season in BC led to a triple our annual carbon emissions here in BC. Now, I should mention that those numbers right now aren't included in provincial carbon inventories, but this is part of a climate feedback loop. The more forest fires are burning, the more carbon gets released, and the more accelerating of climate change is happening.
So, yeah, you say that it affects climate change, but climate change is also, I guess, fueling forest fires as well.
That's right. We know that already our summers are longer, hotter, and drier, but new research this week actually suggests that a warming climate is leading to more stalled out summer weather patterns. Our jet stream is undulating more because the Arctic's actually warming 2 to 4 times faster than the rest of the Earth, so that temperature difference is causing the jet stream to slow down and leading to these high pressure systems stalling out, leading to longer, hotter droughts and extreme weather. And that's what we've been seeing around the world, in fact, this summer with heat waves and forest fires, Rosie.
Okay. Johanna, thanks for that. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We're keeping tabs on a number of other developing stories tonight, including the latest on a powerful hurricane that is bearing down on Hawaii.
Thank you very much.
That's people stocking up on supplies today before hunkering down as Hurricane Lane barrels toward the islands. The storm has weakened slightly, and it's unclear if it'll make a direct hit, but forecasters say it's still dangerous and the impact could be severe. Things are expected to really ramp up tomorrow as the storm gets even closer. We're hearing also for the first time from the man who accused actress and prominent Me Too advocate Asia Argento of sexual assault. Jimmy Bennett released a statement today saying that he felt, quote, ashamed and afraid after the allegations were published. And at the time of the alleged assault, when he would have been 17 years old, he says he tried to handle it privately. Bennett's comments come a day after Argento released a statement of her own denying the allegations. We have a lot more ahead tonight. You'll meet a woman bridging cultures with laughter. Iman Al-Husseini is gay, she's Muslim, she's got a Jewish wife, and no shortage of material for her stand-up comedy. But first, Wall Street is on a record bull run. We'll look at how we got here and how long it could last and who are the real winners. And then the dramatic moments after a deadly explosion in Kitchener, Ontario, leveled a home and left a neighborhood shaken.
Oh my God. Oh my God. We need...
Today's closing bell on the New York Stock Exchange, and with it, a little bit of history. Today officially marks the longest bull market ever. The incredible rally that began on March 9th, 2009 is now 3,454 days old. That's longer than the great run of the Roaring 20s. It's longer even than the massive boom of the 1990s. So, how on earth did we get here, and will it last? We asked Peter Armstrong to try and put the phenomenon into perspective. Peter.
Well, Rosie, this remarkable rise began, as it would, with a remarkable fall. Think back to late 2008, the financial world on the brink of collapse. Giants had fallen. The crisis on Wall Street, now a full-blown global disaster. Markets were in free fall. From the peak in October of 2007, the Dow Jones Industrial Average had fallen more than 7,600 points. That's a 54% collapse. The U.S. bailed out the banks and bailed out the car companies that printed money and offered rock-bottom interest rates. And at the worst of it, the newly minted U.S. President Barack Obama made this bold claim.
Buying stocks is a potentially good deal if you've got a long-term perspective on it.
Then, March 9th, 2009, the bleeding finally stopped. The long, slow climb began. It's been 9 years, 5 months, and now 13 days, making this the longest bull market in history. The Dow and S&P are both up around 300%. The NASDAQ up more than 500%.
You know, a good part of this stock market rally that we had this cycle was just digging ourselves out of the hole we had during the Great Recession. The past few years, of course, has been gravy as we've made new highs.
So if cheap money started the recovery, Donald Trump's tax cuts were like rocket fuel for stock prices. And let's pull that chart up again. Right there, that's when Trump took office with his promise of tax cuts and infrastructure spending. And sure, investors cheered, but all that cheap money meant companies didn't have to invest in jobs and workers.
That has also hampered productivity and hampered wage growth. So if you own assets, it's great. But if you're just in a normal income-paying job and you don't own assets, then perhaps actually this stock market rally has come at your expense.
So how much longer will this bull market run? Remember, it takes a 20% decline for a bull market to turn into a bear.
And what usually ends bull markets and economic cycles in two words are interest rates. And it won't be different this time around.
And anyone with a variable rate mortgage, Rosie, already knows those rates are now going up.
Okay, so Peter, what about Canada's stock market and all of this?
It's interesting, and let's bring that chart back up for a second here. The Dow and the S&P, compare that to the TSX. We'll bring up the bottom line here. So it's up, but not up by even nearly as much as we've seen in the United States.
Okay, and how do we explain that? Why is the TSX such a laggard here?
Largely, we don't have the same tech stocks that have done a lot of the heavy lifting in the U.S. The TSX is weighted by two main things, banks on the one hand and resources on the other. Sure, the banks have done notoriously well, but resources not so much, especially energy stocks. Since that 2014 collapse in oil prices, they've had a bit of a rough run.
Okay, Peter, thanks for this.
You bet.
Up next on The National, with talk of indictments and impeachment, we're going to get a reality check. What's the damage for Donald Trump? Well, according to him, not a whole lot.
My first question when I heard about it was, did they come out of the campaign? Because that could be a little dicey.
As the president has stated on numerous occasions, he did nothing wrong.
Familiar words from the White House, even though two former Trump confidants, Paul Manafort and Michael Cohen, are now convicted criminals. But Cohen is the one drawing fire from the White House.
Just because Michael Cohen made a plea deal doesn't mean that implicates the president on anything.
That may not be true. Not only did Cohen admit to arranging hush payments to two women, he essentially said Trump directed him to do it, which raises all sorts of questions.
Every single remedy, including indictment of the president, should be on the table.
So where does Donald Trump now stand in the eyes of the law, and what might be in store for his presidency? For answers, let's talk to David Frum. He's in Toronto tonight. He's a former Republican Party insider, now a senior editor at The Atlantic. Good to see you, David.
Thank you.
I want to start with what the president has told Fox News about all of this. So let's play a clip of him from an interview that will air tomorrow, but that he gave today to get his perspective, and I'll get you to weigh in after.
Did you know about the payments?
Later on, I knew. Later on. But you have to understand, Ainsley, what he did, and they weren't taken out of campaign finance. That's a big thing. That's a much bigger thing. Did they come out of the campaign? They didn't come out of the campaign. They came from me, and I tweeted about it. You know, I don't know if you know, but I tweeted about the payments. But they didn't come out of campaign. In fact, my first question when I heard about it was, did they come out of the campaign? Because that could be a little dicey.
Okay, there's some factual things that aren't really true there in what the president's saying. But let me ask you, you know, we have had many a scandal with this president. At what point are we at a tipping point? Is this the point?
Can we reverse engineer that clip, though? Because it really pays attention, because it's such an example of the Trump method. First, President Trump says, well, I've always been forthcoming about the payments. In fact, in April, he denied them. Now he says, well, I knew about it after the event. Michael Cohen released an audio recording of Michael Cohen and Donald Trump planning the payment and how it would be done. So that's a whole series of untruths. But what has happened to him, this is why you should always go to the briefing before the interview, in order to clear himself by saying, hey, it was campaign money, it was not campaign money, it was my money, he confessed to a felony. Because the law doesn't care how you use your campaign funds. It only cares that they be properly disclosed. What the law objects to in the United States is if, in order to avoid disclosure, you go around the finance system and spend money that's really a campaign donation, but you do it illicitly and without disclosing. That's what he just confessed to.
But why is that not enough then? Why is this, you know, like everything else, he seems to continue. Is this the thing that everyone decides, okay, we are going to impeach him, okay, this is the end of his presidency?
No, this isn't that thing. Because the American political system, impeachment is a political process. Sure. Removal is a political process, and requires an overwhelming consensus of the society that the president must go. Here's a way to think about it. In 1998, Bill Clinton was impeached, and that turned into a total fiasco. Through the impeachment, Bill Clinton had 60% approval. In 1974, Richard Nixon began the impeachment process and resigned rather than be impeached, and he was at 20% approval. So, you know, 60% means impeachment won't work. 20% means it will. Trump's at 40. And that's the question the American political system has to resolve. What do you do with a president who clearly has done things that are very wrong? There are credible allegations he's done things that are worse than wrong, and yet he still has support in the 40% range, enough to lose an election, but maybe not enough to support an impeachment. Okay, so could a turning point be the midterms? Will people, you know, take a look at things again and make a decision based on what they've heard, these allegations, for the midterms? Well, the midterms will make an enormous difference. Let me just give you one example of how so. So Donald Trump Jr. lied to Congress when he denied that his father knew in advance that Donald Trump Jr. had met with Russian agents to get information on Hillary Clinton. That's a lie to Congress, and lying to Congress is a crime. But things only happen to you if Congress sends the lie over to the Department of Justice and say, please act on this. Sure. The Republican Congress has opted not to. A Democratic Congress might say, you know what, Donald Trump Jr. has lied to Congress. That's something worth looking into. You mentioned Russia in that answer, but you know, Russia wasn't mentioned yesterday. Collusion wasn't mentioned yesterday. What does that tell you about the state of that investigation, if anything? Well, it tells you that when you commit a lot of crimes, they will cover a wide area of possible human activity. So the Cohen matter probably doesn't have a lot to do with Russia. The Manafort matter certainly does, because remember, Manafort was beholden to these Russian-backed Ukrainian oligarchs. He was in desperate financial trouble. He volunteered to work for the Trump campaign for free. Why was Manafort so willing to be inserted into the Trump campaign in that way? And why did Donald Trump take him? So there's a backdrop of Russia there. But remember, if you are following the Russia story, it's not even 10 days that we have learned that indeed Donald Trump knew in advance and planned for the meeting with the Russians to receive stolen information about Hillary Clinton.
So let me end on this, really, 20 seconds. Is this a Teflon president, then? Is there nothing that can undo him? Should we expect more of these kinds of revelations?
He's the opposite of Teflon. I work for George W. Bush. If George W. Bush had had an economy like this, he would have had 60% approval. So would, Barack Obama. If he'd ever had, he might have done a little bit better, actually. Donald Trump is at 40 only because the economy is so strong. This is a president who is desperately unpopular. I think after the midterms, you'll have a clearer sense of the fragility of his political position, and so will he.
Okay, David Frum, good to see you as always. Thank you, sir. Some of the other developing stories we are tracking tonight, including an investigation underway after a dramatic and deadly house explosion in Kitchener, Ontario.
Oh my God, the whole house is gone. The whole house is gone.
Wow, those are the frantic moments this morning after the explosion. A neighbor had his camera rolling as he and others scrambled to find victims in the fiery rubble.
Oh my God, is there anyone else? Holy, is there anyone else? There's someone else! There's someone else!
One woman was confirmed dead at the scene. A man was also found alive, but in critical condition. He was airlifted to hospital. Meanwhile, several other houses on the street were evacuated after being rocked by the explosion. Investigators are now trying to figure out what caused the blast.
We were in the balcony for about 5 hours, stuck there. So me and my mom had to pull over our shirts over our mouths.
Harrowing stories are emerging from yesterday's high-rise fire that happened in downtown Toronto. Some 1,500 people still out of their homes tonight as investigators work there to figure out what caused the blaze. Officials repeated today it could be days before people are allowed to return, which is frustrating news for families offered hotel rooms in other cities just too far from home.
I work downtown. My husband works downtown. So how am I supposed to commute from, Brampton to downtown? I mean, they did not give us a workable plan.
There's around 150 other evacuees who were placed in emergency centers in Toronto, and the city's mayor says he hopes to have them in some better accommodations by the end of the day tomorrow. Let's look overseas tonight. These are some new images to show you out of Mali, where Canadian helicopter pilots have completed the first planned operations for the UN peacekeeping mission. Their job was to fly UN forces into remote villages that rarely see international troops. Canada has committed to contributing to the mission for 1 year and has sent 250 aircrew and soldiers. Coming up next on The National, she's made a comic career of being a Muslim, gay, and married to a Jewish woman. But what does her family think?
You also said that you're not talking to them right now.
Yes.
What's that about?
So we're both having a hard time accepting each other.
First, though, as we go to break, even before leaving for the Little League World Series, Team Canada was making headlines when an immigration issue almost caused their star slugger to miss the trip. The team pulled together for him. Well, now they're going to have to pull together for each other after the team was eliminated today.
Strike three!
And with that, Canada's Little League dream ended. They lost today to Puerto Rico 9-4, but not before writing a compelling story for spectators in Williamsport and fans across Canada alike.
The kids from Wally Little League can certainly be proud of their efforts.
Proud and classy to the end. Here they are, tipping their caps to the crowd before scooping up dirt from the field to remember this moment, one they probably won't forget anytime soon.
Dreamers change the world.
Search the sky past the tall trees, count every star in the galaxy.
Only in America can a first-generation Indian American Muslim kid get on this stage and make fun of the president. The orange man behind the Muslim ban.
Hasan Minhaj has blazed a brilliant trail for Muslim comics. He's joked about his outsider status even as he burst onto the mainstream. After 4 years on The Daily Show, he's getting a weekly series on Netflix that's set to launch in October. Now let's meet a Canadian Muslim comic who's on a roll, thanks in part to her edgy backstory. Ayman El-Husseini is not only Muslim, she's gay, and she has a Jewish wife, and that's all pretty rich material for her act. Earlier this season, Susan Ormiston caught up with El-Husseini to see how she uses laughter to bridge cultures.
Please welcome Ayman El-Husseini, folks, here in Canada.
Great to be back in Canada. So I am originally a Palestinian Muslim. The silence, we get it all the time. Thanks. So of course, when I got older and I told my Middle Eastern parents I wanted to be a comedian, my father looked at my mother and he's like, "You owe me $1,000. She is retarded. She is."
She's Canadian, Muslim, gay, and wildly funny, cracking them up at Yuck Yucks in Halifax.
This is why I'm convinced.
She jokes she's a walking, wisecracking current affair, constantly explaining herself.
What is your name?
Iman.
Iman
El-Husseini.
Iman El-Husseini.
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 El-Husseini. No good.
El-Husseini.
I'm a comedian. I'm here performing at Yuck Yucks. Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yuck Yucks headliner tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Iman is the funny girl from Montreal who simply attracts people.
How great is that? I love that, Michelle.
They're drawn to her and she to them, picking up a future fan anywhere she can.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay. You should come. It's going to be expensive to see me in a couple of years. So come now while it's cheap. Believe it or not, my parents' wedding anniversary happens to fall on September 11th. And a couple of years ago, my parents celebrated their 35th wedding anniversary. Okay, we had a barbecue in the backyard. Can you picture this? A barbecue, Arabic music blaring, a whole lamb roasting on a spit. People were terrified. But to make matters worse, my father decides to make a speech with his very heavy and terrifying Arabic accent. September 11th is a very, very special day for me and my wife. It is the day that Allah brought us together in unity. Thank you for coming to celebrate this special day with us. Allahu Akbar, right? So at this point, helicopters are hovering over the house. Al-Qaeda and Hezbollah are sending us greeting cards. Not good.
The anniversary date is true, but a long time ago. Her parents married in the Middle East. They had Iman and her 2 siblings in Kuwait before emigrating to Montreal when Iman was 10.
And my dad was just like, "You're in Canada, land of opportunity. You got to be the best that you could possibly be." Anything.
Her dad wanted her to be a politician, maybe even prime minister.
Was your dad disappointed?
Big time. Yeah, he was not happy that I chose comedy. It's not a stable career, obviously. It's a very, very difficult career to succeed in.
She promised her dad she would succeed, but she'd have to move to what would become Donald Trump's America.
I got a green card based on my comedy credits. That's a huge deal.
Cool.
Right? That's some kind of achievement.
And you got across the border.
I did, with an Arabic Muslim name. Come on. That's a huge achievement.
And now you have one of those cool Nexus cards.
I have Nexus too on top of it, yeah. You know, having Nexus as an Arab woman, I know how it feels like to be like a white person traveling now. It's so great.
Iman picked up and moved to Brooklyn, New York, and started a new life with Jess Solomon.
I mean, that's how it is in my head always.
Jewish, from Montreal, also a comic.
Did the other cousins tell him?
I have no idea.
The 2 got married in Canada before settling in the States last year.
You told me that your parents were typical immigrant parents in that they wanted you to be a professional something else.
Yeah.
Practically anything but.
Yeah.
You also said that you're not talking to them right now.
Yes.
What's that about?
So we're both having a hard time accepting each other for who we are, I guess you could say. So I fell in love and married a woman, which I think like I hit the jackpot. I'm like living a modern day fairy tale and my parents are not on board, which is so heartbreaking. They didn't disown me or anything. It was more of, we can't accept this. We like you. We like your partner. We wish that you guys weren't together. Maybe you could have married like brothers or something and stayed close.
Iman describes her parents as not overly religious, even while she was trying on her faith in her early teens.
So I started exploring religion on my own. I started praying 5 times a day on my own. And then I stayed religious for a while. And then I tried bacon and never looked back.
Come on, that's the punchline. But what really happened?
I don't know. I just got older. I feel like so many so-called religious people are so hypocritical in so many ways. And I really believe that religion should be something that's personal. If you start flaunting it in front of other people, it loses the purpose of how genuinely religious you are. It becomes more of a show. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but being Muslim has always sucked. You know what I'm saying? It's never been easy, but I don't necessarily fit the profile because I'm not a hijabi or a niqabi, right? I'm more of a cleavagey Muslim. That's my category.
Jokes aside, on the recent Quebec law restricting face coverings like niqabs,
I don't support the face veil because it's not part of my religion.
So you would accept the law in Quebec?
100%. It's not part of my religion, and they're fighting for it as a religious freedom thing, and it's sacrilegious to me.
I've heard many Muslim women say that it is part of my religion.
I mean, that's how they interpret their religion, but they will all admit that it's not compulsory and that the hijab is more than enough.
Do you still pray?
Before really important shows, I become so religious. Just like reciting the Quran, you should see how I become like an imam, practically.
Put your hands together.
For Jess Solomon!
I'm Jewish. My wife is Palestinian. That's how our families reacted to. Thank you. Yowza. I like that.
it's Thursday night, and Jess is on stage first at a local comedy club in Brooklyn.
Before moving here, we went to see this lawyer, and the lawyer was like, I just have to ask you guys, is this a marriage of convenience? And I was like, busted lady, my big plan to get into America is to marry a Canadian Palestinian Muslim woman. Hop right over that border.
40 minutes away in Manhattan, Iman is leaving a gig, racing back to follow her wife on the stage.
Tonight I'm having a very good comedy night. I'm booked at really good venues and good shows.
Already she's running late.
Oh my God, worst Uber ride ever.
I'm the Palestinian portion of the Jewish girl that you saw earlier. I don't know if you guys remember. I'm the one who got the green card. It is a marriage of convenience, by the way. It is. I did this.
2017 has really been the best year of my career so far. Going from begging for stage time to being asked for stage time, that's a huge thing.
And where do you see your future?
Fame and fortune, of course.
Why are Muslims always on the news? And I have to admit one thing, we definitely have anger issues, okay? You guys got quiet, you got scared. It's very powerful. So listen, I'm like an open-minded liberal person, but when I get angry, Taliban angry. I lose my mind. I'm like, kill them all. Women and children first. I don't give a shit. And I'm just in line at the grocery store. It's very unhealthy. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much.
We caught up with Ayman El-Husseini and found out that she's just as busy as ever. In the next few months, she's got dates in Edmonton, Montreal, Toronto, New York, LA. And then there's the El Solomons. It's a series of cartoons about the couple that they put on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm going to check that out. We'll be right back with our moment of the day. First, though, a reminder to subscribe to our newsletter. The National Today takes you inside our journalism every afternoon, and we highlight some of the stories that you may have missed. I find it useful. Today, it was a Brexit reality check. The British people are about to get a glimpse of what it could look like if a deal isn't reached with the European Union. So subscribe at cbcnews.ca/The National.
On season 2 of The Great Canadian Baking Show.
It's all or muffin.
Nope.
Yes.
Don't think so. Didn't work.
No. Season 2 of The Great Canadian Baking Show is coming.
You better believe it.
I'm so sorry, Canada.
Take 21. The Great Canadian Baking Show is back.
And it's going to be fantastic.
Absolutely not. Yikes.
I give up.
The Great Canadian Baking Show returns this September on CBC. Fantastic. Presented with Robinhood. The magic's in the making.
This might just look like a picture of a young woman running, but it's actually a portrait of journalistic dedication. Not that we're all really that athletic, but her name is Cassie Semyon. She's a Temple University student and, as it turns out, an NBC News intern. And after her dash to break the news about Paul Manafort's guilty verdict yesterday, we are setting aside tonight's moment in tribute to her. With that fierce sprint just after the verdict against Donald Trump's former campaign manager dropped, Cassie became a living symbol of the mad scramble for breaking news. She's also now somewhat of a Twitter celebrity with the hashtag #GoBlueDressGo. She's earning props from her school. So proud. Have you ever seen a better picture of a journalist running to break news of a verdict? The greater Twitterverse is also applauding. And they say young people don't have a work ethic, old school journalism. I love this one. Finally, a blue dress story to make us proud. Let's forget the other blue dress. I'll give you a minute there.
Yeah, guilty count 1.
Anyhow, we should point out that it wasn't just Cassie who was fast-legging it. Look at all her peers hustling to their news outlets. But your big question might be, why run at all? Why not just text or use instant messenger? Simple. No mobile devices were allowed in the courtroom. Meaning they had to get the word out old school. Oh, that really takes me to a time before I was born. So here's to you, Cassie. And in case you're wondering why she's so fast, apparently Cassie was quite an athlete in high school. As she says herself, those cross-country running days did me good. So whenever someone asks me how you become a journalist, that's how you do it. You sprint, even when you're wearing a dress. That's The National for August 22nd. Have a good night, everyone.